Oh, what? As soon as I made you the host, it started glitching again.
Wow.
We have a new member
It's
of
like,
the team.
it's like I'm glitching. I'm shifting my point of origin. Something in my point of origin is shifting.
Oh,
It's this powerful magic here with Planetary Guardians and this team of meeting with Nova and Elijah. Very powerful magic. I've heard
okay.
that this glitchy stuff happens when with powerful connections, when there's powerful connections. How is the audio right now?
Good. Yep.
Okay.
Background's a bit bad,
Well,
so
I
maybe
guess
when you're not talking, maybe hit your mute.
Got it.
so. I guess you called this meeting. You wanted to. You sent me a message. Said, "Hey, I want to meet with you."
Great.
So why don't you take it away?
Right on. Thank you, Nova. Yeah, Elijah, you made the connection of connecting like putting this cars team right on Facebook, and that's what made the connection happen with Nova. Like I was like, I gotta meet with Nova. This is the next step for me as a planetary guardian.
Huh.
I want to meet with Nova and see what is the connection there. What is and just to say hello, to be in presence with you, even though we're at a distance here, through connecting to the computer, and even though it's glitchy as hell, then uh, we still get to see maybe there. I'm curious to know what will emerge from this space.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. And we know. Do we know each other from the Eco Village?
If we do, I don't remember so well.
Yeah, I don't. You know, same here. Your name seems really familiar. But I don't know if we really ever crossed paths at the village, but we've both been there, so at least there's that.
Mhm. my human. I
Oh,
see Elijah. Elijah is like watching the image. Alrighty. Wow. Okay, maybe I'll just stop my video. But it doesn't even show my profile picture or something. But anyways,
Voice.
well, it's too bad. Why do you think this is happening, Elijah?
I prefer the glitching. Well, I think maybe that the frequency field is so high that it is you're calibrating to it and having a bit of a problem because of your superpowers. I think one of your superpowers can't quite, because if it came in that strong, you'd probably kill us both. So it can't kind of go there because you go too far even beyond that. So
That makes sense. I've had 2 coffees today.
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, so I really don't have like a specific question about this space, and still like I can tell a little bit about how I met Elijah and like how I ended up here, and it's been a few years that I've been following Elijah's work, and like actually like doing a little bit of work with Elijah, and I've been really like following up like the technology, especially like around communication, conscious communication, and and in connection with this like aliveness that Elijah brings to the space in terms of his trickster character and being, and so anyways, you see, we've been collaborating for a few years now. I don't know if you have the same story, Elijah, but that's kind of my story, that we've been like running on parallel, and you've been sharing a lot of your technology with me.
Why don't you tell the story of us meeting at the Eco Village?
Wow, that was a wild night, and I was it was a night time. I went for a walk looking for Elijah. I was gonna have a conversation with him, and just so you know, this is the first time that I have met Elijah. Like I probably see him one time, and then I saw he had it in the stage. He took over like an area of the Eco Village in there in the what do you call that, in the lobby, in the big lobby, and there were tables set up with maps and stuff like planets that were arranged and put like around in different stations. There were 7 different stations, if I remember correctly, and uh, that's where I met Elijah. I came up to him with this big idea. I was like, dude, I gotta show you this thing. I didn't even know him, and I brought him like a spiral map that I was designing about village, like how to entering into the village, which is so funny because that all of that is kind of. Is it hard to hear me, Elijah?
No, I'm
Is
here.
it hard to hear? Okay. Yeah, so it was this like spiral thing of how to entering into a village, into the core of the village, and I was showing him this, and he was like, "Cool, cool," and then he went on and did his own thing. Thanks for showing me. So then after that, I wanted to meet with him again, and he said, I meet him at nighttime a few days after, and he's like, come over here. We're gonna meet at the entrance. It was nighttime. We're gonna meet at the entrance, and he was in his car, and he took off, and it was like completely a mystery. And he was with his team. It was Shar and Max, and actually Kyle was there too, and a few other people. And we like, so I walked to the entrance of the village, and there they are, like setting up outside, right in the road, setting up a space of magic, setting up different tables and different things. And I think Elijah brought some of his maps, and the idea was to set up right there. And I think we did a pretty bad job because it was raining that night, and we, instead of like setting up the stage, we covered it with bags so that it wouldn't get wet. And I think Elijah got really angry about that, and he's like, "What the hell, guys? You were supposed to set up the shed for, and you didn't do anything." So we ended up only setting up one table, and it was the 8 different spaces table, and we all sat in circle there, and
It was a 6.
it was a 6, right on. Yeah, it was a 6, and yeah, it was really magic from them. Like conversations tried to happen, and just like this. The ego like getting in the way, and Elijah wanted to like show us this like amazing thing that he's built, and it was like me interrupting and then Kyle interrupting. We were laughing like kids, and I think it was really magical night, and then Elijah ended up getting really crazy, really mad to us, and he said, "Fuck you guys, like it's impossible." And then I ended up like swimming in the pavement of the road, and then Max was calming me down. Um,
Oh.
I don't know how to describe it. It was quite full experience, and it's funny because a lot of it got recorded, and I wonder where if when the footage will be revealed.
You forgot a few
Yeah,
parts. You
yeah.
forgot about the mushrooms. You forgot
Can you
about
fill
the
in?
candles on the table that all got thrown up in the air. I think there was 24 candles that went toast. And I think there was a lot of laughing at some point. And yes, I did lose my temper.
Wow. Okay.
It was a fun, wild night. And Jorge was across the table from me. So we got like 6 people, and it was sort of like it's being held by us. And then it's got all these candles on it. And then Jorge's on the cross, and you can tell half the time he was in shock. There was this kind of certain mood in the air, but it was who was the guy? Mark Lakeman was there from Portland, and he was talking about doing guerrilla tactics. And so I felt like by leaving at nighttime and then doing it outside of a post stop, like it was the post stops where people came to drive their cars. So we did there. And it didn't go quite as planned. It didn't but it had an effect on people.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it had a huge effect on me.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Come
and
on,
like
the
what
8 table, it
really.
was a 6 table. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm. There was this really big thing that I really appreciated about you, Elijah, in that moment. Like I still remember it, like, and I still like, it's still like kind of like what makes me gravitate towards working with you and like supporting your job. And it was like a stand that you were taking that was so fucking clear, that was so like unbendable. Like it was unbending stand that you were taking in the authenticity of how you were relating with myself, how I perceived you, and with the space, even with the people in the eco village. So it was in this that made me pursue like asking you for training and for continuing yeah, like asking like for what you're sharing. Yeah, so that.
If I can honor Jorge, he has in many cases been the instigator or the initiator of the next level, the next thing, the next event by his own pursuance of sort of interest. Because I find like there's milestones, like I can't proceed on my own. Like we're having this talk now, and that's making a bit of a milestone. You saying you want to go into the synergy wheel is a milestone. I feel because it is a real team community-based system, I can't go off and sort of do what I want. It comes from this group movement, and I'm sort of following that movement. And when people really understand that, it's like everyone has the power to really create the next movement for the group or for the whole community. And I think when everyone is in that type of environment where it isn't one person controlling everything, like I can like empower or assist or, but I don't want to be here, follow me, let's go here. I want to, okay, how do we all build this together? And I think Nova's been really giving me feedback towards that in terms of I have to get out of the way now, share the tools and see what we can do as a team.
Yeah. See, it seems like the energy is calibrating now.
Yeah, there we go.
That's cool. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna jump in here. So where do you see yourself on the synergy wheel? Or at least to begin with, is there some spot that really resonates with you, Jorge?
Thank you. Thanks for the cheat sheet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't asked myself that question before. So this is the synergy will behind Elijah. And well, the first thing that I feel attracted to is communication, learning, research, sometimes interfacing. Yeah, it changes. Like I think there is different parts that I relate with in terms of the different spaces, like my personal space, one-on-one space, group space, and community space. There is different ones of these that come alive.
So how about group space? What would you put yourself in?
And all of them, I put myself in all of them. I've been told to be really gifted or in the one-on-one space. Like I have like this capacity to connect with one another in one-on-one space. And I don't know, I think it's different for everybody. I mean, for like every connection. I think that the one that I'm working on the most right now is community space. Like it's kind of like where I don't have so much reach. Yeah, yeah, community space. And yeah, like I'm working towards expanding into that field with more of like a, yeah, like taking up more space in community space. Without yeah, like getting myself out of the way. Like that's something that Elijah said to me, like getting myself out of the way. And see. So what about you? What's that, Elijah?
I was just adding that Jorge is also just sort of jumping into some online teaching for music, which is more his passion. And he just recently
Yeah.
had his first show. That was yesterday, right? So that's also
Yeah.
the timing of each of us stepping
Sorry,
up
your first what?
his first course, or not his first
Oh.
course, but his first specific course around music. And I know that
Yeah.
no, you just taught a course around permaculture. And I think that all of us this year are going to be stepping into that role of teaching. And you know, it's sometimes it's nice to have peers, or it's nice to get feedback, or it's nice to have people that, let's say, can jump in. Let's say all of a sudden we snap our fingers and 20 planetary guardians jump in to help someone get a course going. You know, I think that whatever this is, it's we have to start to help each other out with what we really want to do, each of us do, and then look at the bigger team as a mastermind and see, okay, how can this operating system start to, let's say, help us all out? Because it's a balance between that individual life that we have versus, you know, team support.
Yep. Yeah, I propose, you know, that we start putting in $1,000 a month each into this project, because right away none of us can afford that, right? But we should work towards getting ourselves a little more success in our own lives, and you know, financial and emotional and other ways, so that becomes really easy, you know, and along with other things. You know, I think, yeah, it's important that we help each other get further with our own goals and get our own personal lives a little bit more stable or more flourishing or whatever, so that we can easily put more time and perhaps even money into this idea and really, really get this going.
That's a great idea. I like that. But you know what it would also force us to do is to create a shared bank account and a methodology of putting money in there. And then, like, because I'd like to sort of create it so that there are percentages set up ahead of time of the people that are involved in the Inflow Matrix operating system. And so people know that if they put the time in, they're going to get rewarded from it, and that it's substantial. Like if we're creating a billion/trillion-dollar software program, that the people who put the time in, you know, are going to hopefully get financial security, because I think that's something which we're all facing, right? I mean, it's the biggest thing. Everyone has to find a way to make money, and everyone's doing it by themselves. And the idea of this whole shared knowledge community is you design your ideal job, you design exactly what you want to do, and then we all figure it out, or the system figures out how to make the money through that. And at the beginning, everyone needs help getting their dollars per hour. Like everyone out there, you know, before you get your percentage of product, you need dollars per hour. And we may not all be getting exactly what we want, but the idea is that the minimum wage in Planetary Guardians is $100 an hour. So if you get 10 people in a room all paying you $10 an hour, that's like $100 an hour. When I was working with Jorge, I had 4 people giving me $25 an hour. So it wasn't that much of a big hit, but I was still making $100 an hour. So I think that, again, most people would do fairly well if they were making $100 an hour, right? You know, so the idea really is to get financial sufficiency, like to break out of the normal slave wage and to become affluent, and become affluent because we're being more intelligent and because we're helping each other and we've got something that is high value for them.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be a piece of it for sure. Yeah. I mean, one way that I think it'd be easy way to start to work together. I propose that all members of our synergy team here that who want to really come on board and commit to it, they commit to putting in 3 hours a week of work, and they can put in more, or you know, but 3 hours a week is the commitment, the minimum commitment, and that we time bank. We could create a time bank, very simple recording system, so that we can begin recording our 3 hours a week or more, depending on what we're doing. And eventually, once the system itself or the company, whatever we want to call this thing, does begin to earn income more than it needs to continue itself, right? And income can start being brought back to the people who put in the work, then we have a record of all the time we spent. Yeah. But for now, I think it's just an easy way to keep track of people, you know, putting in 3 hours a week, I think is a good commitment. It's not too much, and it's a good minimum. And I think that's something that everyone can kind of start with. Yeah. And so jumping to the other point though, I really see, Jorge, I think would it be possible for you to jump 2 feet in and take on the 3.3 learning position? Because I really see, if especially with a gift and a strong practice of one-on-one meetings, I think that's going to be right away what's needed for the learning role, because it's all about onboarding other people and helping other people one-on-one sort out what they're doing. And Elijah, what would learning 3.3 really be doing for the group, do you think?
Well,
Am I right? Or
yeah, no, I think exactly right. Like funny how it was glitching when you were speaking. So, or like as we bring on more people, everyone's got to get some training and some understanding and to take them through a certain process, right? And I think Jorge has enough of a background with my work, and that we can work together. I'm sort of at the 1, Jorge. I'm Spock. He's at the 9. So he's taking on the role of captain, not me, and I'm taking on the role of science officer. And so that's kind of shifted my thinking around how I can operate, because when you're here at research, it's the lifetime, it's very slow. It's a lot of, Spock has the whole system in his head, but he doesn't really work well with other humans. And so that's kind of like me, right? Like I'm not quite so good. And I think this needs to get translated down to a workable methodology. And so you're getting into training. And so I could help people on the inside, but also maybe help you on the outside, again, of taking the work into the world where you're getting paid. And then inside here, we're all working on the time bank system, where the idea that we will in fact get rewarded at some point, but in a much different way. So the learning officer is looking at the other members of the team and sort of helping them to understand how to work on the synergy team within the context of developing the Inflow Matrix operating system. That's the main thing we're looking at here. There's a lot of different teams, but what we will be doing is creating the software system behind this. And I know, Jorge, that you have a bit of a tech background, don't you? Do you want to explain a bit about that?
Yeah, I have a background in tech. I used to be a computer developer, and I'm not really doing that right now so much. And I'm right now like making websites and doing copywriting. I'm writing a lot. I have programming. Like I did programming for like 15 years, so it's like it's part of my languages. I speak JavaScript. I speak PHP. I speak HTML and CSS.
yeah,
And I haven't done it in a while. So
yeah, I did websites for about 15 years as well. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So what, like, what about all of the things that you do and all the things that you have done? What's the most, like, the thing that gives you the most energy, that you're most like passionate about, you really enjoy the most? Is there something that jumps out?
Yeah, right now it's like I'm going into my inner journey with the underworld. I'm so like I'm going through this like inner evolutionary journey where I'm getting to work with the different parts inside of me. And one of those parts is my underworld. Another part of those is my child, my parent. So like I'm really like doing this teamwork with other people that are also doing this work, and getting to go on that research of what is my relation with the underworld. Um,
Right on.
and inside of that, there is like a lot of discovering that there is something at the core that is shifting for myself, of how I used to relate to the underworld, and now how my relationship is changing, coming from like a place of where I used to reject it and deny it and say that was like not for me, and also like do it for others. Like if you had like some underworld attributes, then I will reject them, and I will like try to change them, trying to fix them. And like I'm coming into this like place of like going into like bigger acceptance of myself, by recognizing like these parts inside of myself that when I'm not directly acknowledging them and working with them, they own me. Like they're working sideways. They come out sideways without even a little bit of my awareness of that. Uh, and I think it's connected with what you're asking me, with this learning, in connection with the learning. And Elijah, you said something about like stepping into the teacher role, and for me, it's like that word teacher. I'm not using it so much. That these teams that, for example, the team that I just started, where that I'm holding space for with music, is sort of like a research team. Like we're going into that space as researchers. There is no authority. Like I'm not the teacher. In that space, I'm holding space for it, but I am not the teacher. I am the space holder. So in this way, we're all in the same like eye to eye. We're in a circle. We call it circle technology. And they're like really like I bring my edge and I hold space for other people to bring their edge about music and be in a vulnerable space where they can feel alive, feel vulnerable, be authentic, and have a radical relating, which is where humans thrive. We really thrive in that space where there is not like this leader that knows it all and the leader is telling how to do things and what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. But there is like this like equality and capacity for humans to be vulnerable. I notice I'm getting glitchy again.
It's okay. There you go. So, okay, wow, that's awesome. I mean, it sounds like the learning spot would be a good fit, really, in lots of ways.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm mostly excited about that because it's one of the core roles that we're trying to figure out who could do it. Right, the 3, the 6, and the 9. I think you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to tell me more about that, like I want to hear it, and I also want to hear know about you, like what, like kind of like how do you end up here? How do you end up working in this field? Like something like
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, sure, yeah.
And what's your purpose, your mission, with something like that?
Hmm, hmm. Um, okay, yeah. I guess I originally met Elijah as well at the Eco Village in 2015, although we never really talked or anything, but I was aware of his presence and maybe we were, I don't know, exchanged a few words. He was there doing a documentary recording of the permaculture course that I was taking. And then he was also building a children's garden for the Eco Village at the time. And then yeah, I don't actually remember how we met again, but somehow we crossed paths again at some point, and just started working together because I don't know, I uniquely, I saw um, a unique creator in Elijah, and that I didn't understand what the heck he was doing, but I could see that it was something good and something big and something with a hell of a lot of potential. So yeah, over many years, I have gained maybe 8% more knowledge of what he's doing, but I've never lost confidence that it's a really awesome idea. And yeah, I guess so. More generally, I guess. Well, I'm also I think I and Elijah are also both working on ourselves here and there, and that's part of this journey that I think probably everyone on the team is in that boat in some way or not another. Um, and
Can you say more about that? What is that for you? That working on yourself?
yeah, so I guess let's see, in something like, oh, excuse me. Excuse me. No, I think in about 2000, thank you. In around 2013, I believe, I had a car accident, and I should have died, but I didn't, and that really changed my life. Yeah, a lot of stuff changed for me. I changed a lot of stuff about my life after that, which I think it might have been, I think it's 2013. Anyway, around the same time I started discovering permaculture as an idea. I ended up taking a permaculture course in mainland British Columbia, and then I found out I got really interested in it after that. Started a nonprofit society called the Permaculture Society. And then I found out, I wanted to teach permaculture at some point in my life, and I found there was this thing called the Permaculture Teachers Training Program, and it was being offered at the Eco Village, I had met Brandy previously at a conference a couple times, Living the New Economy conference. So I knew her a little bit, and Freya, and I'd heard about the village, but I'd never been there. So I took the leap and went for the 7-day training there, um, to get my PTT, and I did that. And then, yeah, it was pretty awesome. And then at the same time, there was this small group of people that were just beginning a 7-month journey into a homesteading program at the village. And this was the first part of their training. And later they were going to take a PDC and all this other stuff. And anyway, the last night, before I was going home, after getting my certificate, so I could teach permaculture, we had a few drinks, and me and some of those people, and yeah, the two of the girls convinced me to join and jump in with 2 feet to the 7-month program that I had no idea, never planned on that. And I said, "Nah, that's all good. I'm going home. Thanks. Nice to meet you." And then about a week went by, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I thought about it a lot, and then yeah, so I said yes, and um, yeah, got rid of my place. Well, actually, I rented out my place to a friend while I was gone. Um, anyway, yeah, and then I spent 7 months living at the village, doing a whole bunch of different things. That was really awesome experience, and that the car accident and kind of the work I was doing on myself and on trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and then that really took me completely off course in a good way, and that really supercharged my journey into the underworld, as you probably say, and really looking at all that stuff, noticing a lot of shadows in myself, and also, yeah, beginning to really find my purpose. All of that started, I think, in a great deal because of that eco village experience. Um, yeah, and so I did the 7 months. I've worked with Brandy quite a lot over the years as well since then, doing different things. And at one point, I was offered a job there. I went back and lived there for another 6 or 7 months as the IT administrator for the village. I lived in the little straw bale house just past the Taj, which was pretty cool. I might have been there when you were there then.
2018. I was there in 2000.
Oh, okay. No. I think this is, well, it might have been then.
2018, 2019.
Maybe. Yeah. Um, so anyway, yeah, I did that until I think the winter time, and then the village kind of slows down, and at the same time I was getting really interested in eco villages and more permaculture stuff, and I heard about this global eco village network meeting in Estonia in Europe, and I decided to go to that. So I went there um, after my term as the IT person was up. I went there. I lived there for like a month and a half or something, at this other eco village called Lilioru, which is a really interesting place. Their whole eco village is designed around the flower of life. Like physically, it looks, if you look at a satellite image, it is the flower of life. Really interesting guy set that up. He went. He was an Estonian. He went to India when he was younger, and learned from some Indian mystics, basically a whole system of chakras and healing system, and a whole, like, an actual mystical system he was part of, and learned, and he brought that back to Estonia and started teaching it to some people, and his students got so excited about it that they all decided to make a community together, and so all together they made this thing called Lilioru. Anyway, why I'm bringing that up is because there was the big conference there, and there was some volunteering to do, and then after during the conference there was a bunch of like 1 or 2 day courses that you could take. And I took this one called the Art of Change, or the Art of Conscious Change, and it was by this guy who had founded, or who had started this whole village. And yeah, it was pretty amazing stuff. Like, I've always been interested in metaphysics, in the chakras, and subconscious, like psychology, science, ancient history, mysticism, all that stuff. And I know some things about it. But he definitely knew what he was teaching and knew how to teach it, even though his English was not great still. Um, and yeah, through that experience, it really changed me as well, because it was a 2 day thing. The first day was all conceptual, teaching about the chakras, how all of it works, like um, how it works with the mind and stuff. And the second day was practices that you can do with that, but you have to have the basis of knowledge. You have to believe in it basically for it to work, like many things. And on the second day, the last exercise we did was a really like 5-minute meditation kind of thing, where you meditate, you understand that your fear chakra is at the very bottom. It's separate from the rest of them. It's different, and it's holding all this energy, this massive amount of energy, and held up in your fears. And that he took us through this simple guided meditation where we release that and release all of our fears to destroy them permanently. And it worked. I had this huge rush of physical energy, and I was like, holy cow. And I like got up right away and I thanked them and was like super energized for the rest of the day. I was like, wow, that felt really good, like crazy. And then I didn't even really think about it much. The next day I was in Tallinn, the capital, and I was walking around by myself. And they have a lot of castles there. I was walking along a castle wall, where they have this, this really old brick fence kind of idea beside the wall so you don't fall off, but there's nothing really there to stop you. And I was just looking over, and it was like a few stories down. And I always, since I was a kid, I've had a weird fear of heights. I don't remember why I got it. I always had this like strong fear of heights. And then I just noticed, no, my fear of heights is gone. And I was looking over, I leaned over, and everything, nothing, no problem whatsoever. And I've never had it since. And I also had like a fear of bees. Like, if a bee or a wasp was near me, it'd freak me out, and I didn't like it. Made me nervous. It doesn't bother me at all anymore either. So anyway, somehow that thing did work, and that really changed me as well. And then so I guess that was probably 2018, and then 2019. I didn't have anywhere to live. I'd given up my place before that to go to live at the eco village and then go traveling, and so I didn't really have a place. And I said, well, I got some money saved up. I think it's time to actually go traveling around the world, which I'd never really done. I was going to visit my sister here in New Zealand, and then go to South America, maybe do some ayahuasca ceremonies, or live with some people and try to find some path with that. And then maybe go to Asia. I'd never been to Asia before either. And yeah, really, I wanted to like lose myself so I could find myself again. And my sister lived here in New Zealand, so I thought I'd come and visit her first. And then the week before I was leaving, she like suddenly divorced, or suddenly broke up with her husband of 17 years, and they just had a baby together and all this stuff. And it was like, whoa, that's crazy. So I ended up staying with her for a few months to like help her go through that, and like help her clean up her house and stuff, because it was just horrible. He was a hoarder and never cleaned anything. Anyway. And then this pandemic thing happened that I couldn't go traveling anymore. So I waited that out, and it took waited so long, it never moved. And so then I decided to go to school while I was here so I could continue with a student visa. And then I ended up meeting someone, and now I have a future wife and 2 kids here. And I guess I'm immigrating here. I'm going to do the paperwork probably later this year. Yeah, and then my sister and myself are the only kids in my family, so my parents are now actually planning to immigrate here too. So we've all become a family of immigrants, apparently. Yeah, and then so I started teaching permaculture here a few months ago, something I've been considering for a while. I taught 1 PDC in December, and I'm going to be teaching another one here in February, is the plan. And ever since I've been here, I kind of reconnected with Elijah. We've been doing a lot of online work. Work together online, because we're in 2 different places, towards, bringing a system to software mainly, and thinking about it in different ways, and just trying to collaborate on different projects, really. I made a game while I was here, like a web-based real-time strategy game that was, something to do for a year. I may get back to that one day, but basically it's just on the back shelf right now. And yeah, anyway. And now I'm here, and I've the whole time I've been working with Elijah. I really want to see this happen, and I think the way we're approaching it now is the most practical way that we've thought of so far, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And I think that the roles that me and Elijah are taking on right now, I think for now at least, I think it makes more sense. I think it makes the most sense. Yeah.
If I can add something, Nova's been the only person who sort of has seen the vision and actually worked together with me to output actual software. So Nova is actually a very talented programmer, and he has I think at some point you said, I want to be the IT man in head of IT. If his ideal job would be like the IT manager for the Inflow Matrix. And so we've worked on 2 projects, one that came to one that sort of is close to being finished, and that was the Choose a Remedy, which is a press the button. I think you've seen that. You put a question in and you get an answer. And then the second was a more advanced looking at chat rooms and looking at being able to program chat rooms with a convo type, a value, a goal, a timer, a point system, and then developing a thing where you can have 12 facilitators. So you can actually get the facilitators, and each facilitator can have 12 people. So we actually have that built. It's not, we were working with an organization called LICL, and I was on the design side and he was on the participant side, and their actual vision was to take 144 people, 12 teams of 12, through their curriculum. And so they used a few of my tools, and at the end of it, we were building this kind of for them to use. It didn't get used, but we had a working prototype that is sort of like, if we were going to go to the Inflow and go, okay, what's the next project we need to sort of get going? To me, that would be it. Because it's actually probably workable, but there's just some, kind of like screen upgrades. And at one point, what we were doing was going to LinkedIn. Nova figured out a way to get volunteer help, and he went to LinkedIn and put up some ads, and we got a massive amount of people that were looking for volunteer help. And
yeah, like 50 people or something.
Yeah, and so we had to go through a whole bunch of interviews, and at some point we had like 3 AIs, we had like 6 programmers, we had a project manager, or we were close. And then we did get one person I was working with one-on-one who was great, so we started to come up with, I was coming up with the sort of what I wanted. I mean, I'd never had anyone who could take one of my maps and make it an interface. And so I had this design for a software system, but I don't program. And I've never worked with somebody who I just said, okay, here's the map, do this, do this, do this. And so then I was working with this lady who actually we might want to bring on board. She was from, I think she was from Iraq. And she was great. I really liked, was she from Iraq or Iran?
I think that's right.
So she was new to the business, and she was in interface development. And so we were going back and forth, and I think I can show you maybe a few of the maps we did, but I'm just trying to catch you up on, there has been quite a bit of work between the 2 of us that occurred, and that at one point we sort of figured we were missing a piece. We were missing sort of like there was maybe you can explain it better, Nova, but in
Yeah, I mean, the main part of it is I'm a better programmer than I am a website like visual designer. I can do that, but it takes me forever. So like 90% of my work was being spent on trying to make everything, tweaking everything and making it look good. And then 10% of it was the programming, which is what I'm really more passionate about and honestly better at. So we were really trying to find someone that could take on the design role specifically, like someone who's really good at CSS and SAS and all this kind of stuff. And and could do, maybe React or something like that, Node.js and all this other stuff that's good for mobile. We're trying to fit that one person in. And so this time I'm confident that we'll have all the people that we want. But I also, the other problem for me was that I'm a busy person. I have a family. I've got other stuff going on. That's why three hours a week is really good for me at this point, at least. And so the other part of it was, I couldn't do all the work that was needed to get the thing going really by myself. It was too much. But also we do have some pieces of software systems that are already done or just need kind of a bit of a refacing and finishing. So that's gonna at some point be really great. But I'm also very hesitant to ask, for example, for you to, can you take a look at this and redesign it? I don't want to do that to you. I think that the same with myself. I don't think that's what we should be doing right now. I think this team should be working on creating a team, and that's it, and creating a strong team, and then basically managing other people to do all that kind of stuff, or inspiring other people to take it on. I think we'll have a problem. We'll probably individually burn out or not be so interested if we just try to attack this as a work thing and start doing the work specifically.
If I can just, I would just want to finish with this interface. Just, but I like here we have the teacher, the student, the administrator, and the facilitator. And so the more the business side, I think, aspect of this was a school where these are different levels of people entering into it. I know it kind of looks like the Squid Game, which was maybe not the best way, but if you look at here, this was an interface that had, it sort of distinguished planetary guardians as a class of human being. There's a ruling class, the middle class, and the working class. And then there's planetary guardians, and that's the sort of like the sneaky thing, is putting us in at a place which is actually distinguishing us and adding this other part where all of a sudden you can create teams in each of these, but we would start with planetary guardian teams. And so this is like the first planetary guardian, sort of like a mastermind team, and that there's a kind of natural next step. It just, like, I think what I'm finding with myself right now is the system's building itself. I'm really going through quite an output stage right now. And it's just like, as the next step comes up, you sort of go and create that or do it or whatever. And I think just by the nature of the synergy of the team, that the energy field is going to start to attract the people, and all of the things are going to happen, because it is a team-based system. And I've been going kind of crazy because there really hasn't been a real team, or I haven't, let's say, allowed it to occur, but through Nova's initiative. And that's what it took. It took someone to take the initiative. And so now I feel that you're right, Nova, in terms of it's not going to be a sort of normal way to make this happen. That it's sort of more spiritual mission focused, and getting the right people, or getting a group of people that really see that they can work together and want to work together, get excited by the project. And then I think it'll be easy to, let's say, to attract funds, or attract people, or attract whatever we need, because there's so much goodness, I think, inherent within this idea.
Yeah. Something that I want to say in addition to that is the here and now. In the here and now time circle, it's like, for me, these maps that you're creating, Elijah, they're already working. They are at work here in this meeting, like kind of like that. That's what's bringing us together. That's what is creating this space. So in a way, even though there hasn't been a software development, there hasn't been like this like a specific software that we're using. Like, we are using that technology. We are navigating using those maps. I am navigating the glitching. I am navigating yeah, like my life, it changed when I when I discovered the spaces map, for example. It changed my life. It gave me this new possibility of having a one-on-one, that I could have a one-on-one, and that was something of value. I got the other map that was the time cone. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay. Yeah, it gave me the other map of the time cone.
The time cone?
Time cone. Yeah, where it was like the past and the future, and then like the thing that meets in the middle.
The vortex, double vortex.
Yeah, like the double vortex.
I got it.
So like, it's like stuff like this, it creates, it starts shaping the consciousness inside of my being. And through all of that, I was able to start catching more consciousness. So something that I didn't have a distinction about before, like from your maps that you're sharing, like I had a distinction now. And from that, like these new ways of organizing became possible. And I think that this meeting is happening like thanks to those maps, and thanks to the work that you're doing. So it's like the software is running inside of us, something like that. It just hasn't been expressed in the computer yet. And I'm with the team. We like building the team to me is the first part. Like finding a team that we can connect beyond the project. We're not connecting about the project, but that we're just like we're supporting each other's journey wherever we are. Like when when we're in the downs, when we're in the ups, like wherever we are and whatever research discovery we are, like to know that I'm on your team for your commitments, for the things that you're taking a stand for.
Well, that's good to hear, because that's the purpose. So that's the point. And I think what Jorge has is he has had genuine interest, and he has actually taken courses, and the 5 spaces map I noticed had a huge effect in terms of looking at time for people, looking at how you spend your time, and that I haven't taught it actually to a lot of people. I've been doing mainly research. And so Jorge initiated the online training program. And that's what I said, that before he's initiated a few different things. And then so every week we get together and we just do one map and show one thing, and then they would put it into practice. And so he was with 3 others, like creating a community, and they were using it within their communication and their distinctions of, I guess, how they were going to organize their time. So it's good to hear from you, Jorge, about the impact, because I think a lot of tools, they have to work, right? Like this map behind it sort of gives a distinction between the big picture. This is like the first map, big picture of going, like, if you want to create a new system, how are you going to do it? But it's like in the present moment, you're choosing, you know, do you want to go into the paradigm of fear, or you want to go into the paradigm of love? Like, to me, everything from the past, we can just say it's from the paradigm of fear, but where we're moving is we're moving to the future, which is a new paradigm. And here's the moment. The moment is right now that we choose, or you choose every moment to go, okay, I want to take the path of love, or I'm going to get lost in the path of fear. So the maps are sort of like common reference points for us to really go, how are we going to design or build this new future? And so the new paradigm toolkit is just like maps, card sets, game boards, processes, and software. The Inflow Matrix is on the software side of putting together this language construct that goes inside the team's mind, and then we recreate it in software. And so then we have this parallel between our own thinking and the software. And I think that's happening anyway, but it's not happening where we control the outcome. I think we've seen that so many other infotech platforms, we're just using them and they're organized in a certain manner. The data is used in a certain manner. We have no control over our own software. And I think that's where we need to go. We need to have a software that can run a team, run your own job, run a community, and then have it so it's like there isn't corruption there isn't scamming, like it's for the people, and it turns into a new way of humans doing business together, one based upon sort of trust, where we actually start to trust one another because the numbers can't lie. It's an open, transparent system, and people can see how to put their work into sort of good projects and good ways of living.
I just want to say too, yeah, I'm already committing the 3 hours a week for my role, and I have about half an hour left for this week. My week ends tonight, so I'm just noticing we're on the hour. I can continue for another half hour, but I have to go and get my computer power cord. So I'll just be right back.
Okay.
Because I think
Jorge,
unless you got to leave right away.
How's your timing, Jorge?
Yeah.
Because like we can wrap it up because I usually aim at an hour anyway.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you if there was anything else that you guys wanted to talk about, but I feel like it's pretty complete. And I wanted to bring that you said, Nova, about the 3 hours, like reading that proposal for the people that are gonna be in the synergy wheel to commit to 3 hours a week. And that seems like something I want to do and that I can do.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice, right on. Okay, so yeah, we'll lock you into the research spot for now. That's cool too, and
Learning spot.
Yeah.
learning spot. Yes.
Yeah, and to me it will be like going like at the learning pace. Like I can only learn so much at a certain time. So right now I'm learning that there is a synergy wheel, and that you guys are like placing people inside of the synergy wheel, places, and that there is an available spot for learning, and that you've been looking for somebody to fill in that spot, and that person like I could be a fit, somebody that could take that further, like evolve the context of what learning is inside of this communication tool. And I have no idea what that is like. I don't know what I'm committing to, and I still like I commit to, yeah, to be in that role, because learning in itself is like its own energy, it's its own archetype. So I'm in that energy, and that's where I'm at. So I'm happy to share my research, and happy to, yeah, evolve that however it shows up.
Right on.
Hey,
Amazing.
that's great. Great to hear.
Cool. Mm. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks so much for meeting here. And yeah, anything else before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's meet again, in a few days or something, and we'll also try to fit more people in. So there may be a fourth person for our next meeting. I don't know, but I think going forward, the three of us should just meet with the next person, I would imagine, and go from there until we got this wheel filled.
Okay. See you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you, guys. I love you.
All right, right on.
Big love.